welcome to another one of these episodes of the Gaming Kitchen. It's been a long time since I've done one. I got a request to work on one from a subscriber. So I'm going to start working on this video right here because it was in demand. With that said, the one I want to work on now is called Why Gamers Do Not Like the Call of Duty series. Where did it go wrong? Where did it come from that you have a sect of gamers that are no longer appreciating or valuing first-person shooters like this? I've covered it briefly in other videos, gave my point of view on it, especially if you've seen my Rainbow Six videos when I've always called out the Black Ops 3 community and such as that. But I'm going to take some time to go into an extensive look into why it's starting to come about. In order to do this, we got to look at where Call of Duty is right now, what Call of Duty embodies, and as well where Call of Duty came from. Now, in this video, I'm using Battlefield 1. It's a backdrop of video and just music for something to process the thought. I don't own Call of Duty, the new one, the Infinite Warfare. I don't own the remastered version of Modern Warfare, even though I want to. I'm gonna get to the reason why I won't for now. The first reason you gotta look at when looking at these games in today's generation of gaming is that the spirit of originality when it comes to video games no longer exists. If they do exist, they exist in small areas of video games. You know, your Witcher 3s, your exploration games. Every now and then you'll get a game that'll come out of the middle of nowhere and just blow you away. Graphic-wise, storytale-wise, immersion-wise. Call of Duty is not doing that. The reason why Call of Duty is not doing that is because Call of Duty, at some point, went from a World War II shooter that started out dealing with World War II, and then it went to Modern Warfare. And when it went from Modern Warfare, it went to the last World War II game, which was World at War, which came out in 2008. Then after its Modern Warfare series ended, it went into Black Ops, which the first Black Ops game was amazing. It covered the Vietnam War. It covered the Viet Cong. It covered the events in the 80s during the Reagan administration. And it covered topics in a game that was never seen before. After that point, after Black Ops, it got to a point where I feel that Call of Duty lost its way. It got caught up in the hype. It got caught up in the the hype of modernizing and fantasy and stuff like this. Modern Warfare was a great trilogy series. In fact, the first Modern Warfare was so daggone good that it paved the way for Modern Warfare 2, which is, in my opinion, the Empire Strikes Back of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare series. Modern Warfare 2 was 10 times better than what Modern Warfare was. And then Modern Warfare 3 was on the tail end. And as soon as it fell off, I thought, and everyone thought, that this was going to be the end of the Call of Duty series. After the Modern Warfare 3 series, it became apparent that this company is more focused on making money than what they are producing an original thing. As time came on, people started to see that a lot of the redesigns, a lot of the levels, a lot of the cinematic experiences were rehashes of previous Call of Duty games. This is where you run into a problem. And I think that the reason why you had the backlash you had against Call of Duty this year coming out, Infinite Warfare, is simply because you have a community of gamers that are being tired, are growing tired of being nickel and dimed. They're sick and tired of having companies come out with yearly, not even bi-yearly anymore, yearly titles. Whereas after this year, you have another probably Call of Duty game that's coming out that's going to be $59.99. It's going to have the same stuff. It's going to strip itself away from what the gaming community in Call of Duty would like, and it's going to somewhat become more radicalized in this new stuff that it's going with the space battles, and you're having anti-gravity boots and all this type of stuff. When clearly it's like, you know, Modern Warfare was pretty good. Black Ops was pretty good. And somewhere along the way, they tried to get away from it, and it became less original, and it's become saturated. So here comes a game like Battlefield 1 that comes out. And I'm going to explain the flaws of Battlefield 1 too. Like, Battlefield 1 is not perfect by a long shot. Titanfall 2 is not perfect by a long shot. But there's something that they do in which Call of Duty can't do anymore. Battlefield 1, in opposition of Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare, is a game that tries something new. It strips away all the modern style of gaming. It strips away all the space and all the technological Star Wars-y type of stuff that's not Star Wars, and it says, okay, this is a game set in World War I. Even though many people have come out and said that Battlefield 1 basically feels like a World War II game just with a World War I skin on it. Be it as it may, everyone has different opinions. You can't please everybody. The world's not made that way and never will be that way. Obviously, in the current climate, we know that's true. But at the same time, these games that are coming out now are not original anymore. So when you find games that have like a different type of technological place that's put to it, certain type of commitment that's put into it, the gaming community is going to see through it. The gaming community is going to see through what Call of Duty is doing. So that's one of the reasons why there's this backlash against Call of Duty, why gamers are getting tired of it. Games like Rainbow Six that comes out, that provides a different thought process, a different immersion. Games that just shouldn't know when to stop. Second reason to why Call of Duty is receiving the brunt of the type of backlash that it's getting is simply because the gaming community, most importantly, a gaming community and a generation that remembers when games came out and didn't nickel and dime their customers, is over with. That era is done. You're dealing with an era now where every game has a season pass. You know, every game has content that's being taken away from the original format and is being placed in season pass packs that cost sometimes more than the game itself, cost $10 less, and you're spending $111 on a game when clearly they're not getting the same package. I've heard all the reasons, all the different reasons that say, the technology is different now. The technology is different when it comes to making games now. The way it's structured is different. This is the climate that we're in. We have to accept that. There are some in the gaming community that are just sick and tired of being nickel and dimed. We saw it with Battlefront. We saw it with even Battlefield, to be honest with you. Like I said, when I said before, Battlefield is not perfect. Battlefield's doing the same thing. Like, Battlefield has a season pass where most of the stuff that, most of the people that were involved in World War I won't be brought out until it's in another season pass. So, here's a bare bone game Here's a game that doesn't have half of what should be in there to keep the longevity going, but stand by, give us your 50, give us your $60, and 2 months down the line, we'll give it to you, and then a year out, we'll send out the Ultimate Edition, price it at $39.99, which is $20 to $30 less than what you paid for it, and here you go. That's going to happen with Battlefront. What I just described is what's going to happen with Battlefront. Battlefront's going to come out this year, all right? We're in November right now. It's going to come out in November, the year anniversary of Battlefront's release. And it's going to have all the DLC, including the DLC that's to come, which is Rogue One Scarif. Now, looking at this as a person who went out and purchased the game a year ago, bought the season pass and everything, counting every single cent and penny to make videos and stuff, it's frustrating. But these companies know what they're doing. Let's not be mistaken about it. These companies know what they're doing. They're in the business to make money. And one thing that customers don't get is that the base that is tired of dealing with unoriginal material and shelling out money year in and year out for the same products and for stuff that's not the same way that it is getting tiresome. And Call of Duty, unfortunately, is going to receive the brunt of that. And it is receiving the brunt of it. And you can tell that they're receiving the brunt of it because they went as far as to, put in the remastered version of Modern Warfare that came out almost 10 years ago. I was around when Modern Warfare first came out. I remember in 2007, in my freshman year of college. It was my second year of my freshman year of college, sophomore year of college. And the 3 big games that came out in 2007 was Halo 3, Assassin's Creed, 4 actually. Halo, Assassin's Creed, Halo, Halo 3, Call of Duty, and Mass Effect. Those were the 4 biggest hits. And Modern Warfare blew people away. This was the first, style of game other than Counter-Strike and all those things that dealt in a modern world, with modern weapons and stuff. And it was addictive. But then it got to the point where it just got ridiculous. And you had season passes that came on, and as technology came on, these companies found new ways to make money off of people and make money off of customers and keep shilling out the same thing and getting it back. It's safe to say that with the release of Call of Duty Ghosts, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty Black Ops, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, yada, 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 that this is a climate that's not going to go away. I think this is a climate that is just not going to go away. Every game company now has this in their craw, where we're going to make a game that's going to be partially complete. We're going to release it, we're going to let it out, and people are going to buy the season passes, and they're going to continue to do this and continue to do this until it becomes a part of the norm. That's what happens with technology. Technology in its right format phases out something that comes before it. Ideas that are adaptable are ideas that either build upon or phase out what comes before them. There's a reason why you don't see the Iceman anymore. There's a reason why you don't see the Milkman anymore. They've been replaced by technology. Their positions have been made obsolete. And there are some things that stay around, and there are some things that don't. What you have now is a climate of gaming where you have two different generations now that are playing games. You have a generation that remember games when they were released full. You have a sect of generation now that's being brought up into this climate where they didn't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to buy a complete game. They don't know what it's like. There was a point where, and I mentioned this way back when I first started making these things, that DLC at some point was not the game itself. It was to help the game along in small areas and small places, whereas the biggest bulk of the story was as follows in the game when you brought it. Nowadays, it's the opposite. The game itself is not the game. The game comes later on. You're just, putting an investment into something that's supposed to come later on. That's it. So, what can you do in that situation as a gamer? Well, there's 2 things that you can do. These game companies now work on a yearly cycle. Your Call of Duties, your Maddens, these games are games that are released on a yearly basis, which means that there's no time to add things in, and they cut a lot of corners, and they just milk the customer's dollar and they send it out. As much as you can speak out against this type of stuff online, the only way that you can make a company listen to you is simply not buy their products. That's how you do it. You don't buy their products. You don't sit up there and go out and buy the game, and you got to tell these companies that I'm not satisfied with this product. I'm not satisfied with you releasing a partial game and then expecting me to put $50 down, put $50 down for another title for something that should have came with the game. I'm not going to accept that. The problem is that we become loyal consumers. We become loyal consumers to Madden. Madden is theoretically the same game every single year. I hate to say it. I hate to, be Captain Obvious here. I'm late to the Madden game when it comes to commenting on this because I made videos very soon, but I've been saying this for years. Madden is the same game. And this is a game where it's a different roster update. The game isn't even fully matching what's in real life. We're talking about a game that's been out since 1989. Madden is 27 years old, right? Madden, for the most part, is always a work in progress. When you talk to the developers and you go to Operation Sports, where they defend them tremendously, they overlook every flaw they got, and if you criticize them in the slightest, you get blocked, you get written up and everything. There's censorship that's heavily weighed on Madden, and it's gotten to the point where it's now acceptable that these people who program these games and work on these games come up short. Because their focus is not on making the game better, the focus is making a profit. So, yeah, they do listen to the community with certain things, but if you have the NFL license and you have all these things, why is it that the game itself is flawed? Why is it the fact that there are no cheerleaders on the field? Why is it the fact that there's half of the people that would be on the field you can't do? How is it that NBA 2K series has more gigabytes added to it from 2K, comes out yearly, and then you have a game that comes out and it's only like 1 gigabyte, 120 this, 120 that, when clearly you can utilize all that memory and put more into the game? The answer is quite simple. You have certain game companies that are just making games for money. They make it for profit. And it's blatantly obvious now that Madden is the same game every year. It's not just figuratively speaking. It's literal. Like, there are certain times where you play a game and you're in a stadium and the stadium hasn't been updated. Stadium has been built. Why is that? What's going on with that? It's the same thing about Call of Duty. Call of Duty is rushed out every single year. It's rushed out every single year. It's the same game every single year. That's the problem. So you have all those things, all those reasons, all those factors that's boiling into why it's unpopular now to associate yourself with Call of Duty. When at some point, Call of Duty was legitimately a good game. When I was in college, we all played Call of Duty. We all played Battlefield. But at some point along the lines, Battlefield became the new thing to play. And at some point now, it's just not anymore. That's just the problem. And honestly, it's going to continue to be that way. These game companies are not going to change unless you stand up and say, I'm not going to buy this product anymore. You have to speak with your wallet. Not many game companies post-release are going to care or listen to what you have to say. If you don't buy it, they have no choice but to listen to you. Your money is the power. So, why do I say that? Well, you go back to the day in which Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was released. And honestly, Activision, or whoever makes it now, I've lost track, but the company that made them know for a certain fact that that's the case, because if they did, they wouldn't have put Modern Warfare in it. I mean, let's be honest, most of the people bought that game for Modern Warfare, which is slick. And I'll tell you why. It's slick because upon purchasing that game, for the other game, by the way, you now boosted sales for Call of Duty. You basically said with your wallet, it's okay that you're making these types of games. The reason why it's okay that you're making these games is because those are the sales. Game companies and companies altogether don't care if you purchase the game from Modern Warfare. They care that you purchase Infinite Warfare. That's why they put it in there with it. And I remember looking on Facebook forums and looking on IGN and everything, customers saying, well, I didn't buy Madden, I didn't buy Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for that game, I bought it for Modern Warfare. And the company is going to realize that and they're going to change. That's not how money works. That's not how the business works. See, by you going out and purchasing the game, you're telling them that I actually like what you're doing. I like the fact that you're releasing a yearly title with the same stuff in it, just with different graphics, different characters, different things, making it more cartoony, adding less thought process in the game, so it's just a run and shoot and hop off of walls and gravity grenades and crap like that. You're saying that with your wallet. So even if you did go out and buy Infinite Warfare with your money for Modern Warfare, you helped along the process and told them in a way, I like what you're doing. I like the fact that you're making this game. I like the fact that you're not listening to the fan base and making this stuff. I like the fact that this is what you're doing, that this is the direction you're taking. That instead of you focusing on what made you popular, you're now focusing on Star Wars-esque type of stuff, which is kind of ironic considering the fact that, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare had more space in it than the original Battlefront, especially one that was released last year. It's the same thing as movies. Let's go to Star Wars for an example. I love Star Wars. I love it. It's one of the best science fantasies out there. It's the modern day mythology. But the problem with it is that you're getting to the point now where, like, The Force Awakens just came out with a DVD in April. It was digital, and Blu-ray and DVD was released in April. They held back on the commentary, they held back on extra deleted scenes and everything to release a new video collection in November. And I stood up there and I looked at it and I said to myself, I said, I love The Force Awakens. I love all 7 Star Wars films. If you don't, that's your personal problem. I could care less. But I love them. But I don't love Star Wars enough to go down this rabbit hole. To go down this hole of, okay, I purchased it back in April. Let me go out and buy the same movie that has the same disc, just with 3D, and just because the director now finally put his 2 cents in or commentary as to why he filmed it this way or what information. I can't do that. I can't do that to myself, and I can't do that as a consumer. I refuse to do that. Because to me, I'm telling the company that that's okay that you're doing that. Even though they admitted that they were going to do it, doesn't make it any better. That you're nickel and diming customers and fans of a product to go out and buy another product that's the same thing that you just had, just with extra buttons and whistles. And bells and whistles, excuse me. That's not cool to me. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that this is what's going on in today's time with games and products and everything, is that if you don't stand up there and speak with your wallet and say, I'm not cool with this, I'm not going to pay for it, those companies don't care about what you have to say.